you don't have to make money directly from your show in order for your show to be bringing a return on investment to your brand. Welcome to a YouTube video in our show host series specifically about how show hosts make money from their podcast and YouTube shows. I'm guessing this is going to be a pretty popular video because it's one of the most frequently asked questions that we get at Worthful Media with our clients, with prospective clients, with friends, and for an obvious reason. Podcasts and YouTube shows have been around for long enough now that most people who've considered hosting a show know there's money involved unless you're DIYing it, which is a lot of work. And so it's the most obvious question to ask, like, how much money can I expect to make from my show if I'm going to pony up and pay a production house to make it, or have a team member learn how to make it, or hire a freelancer? And I am delighted to shed some light on this, specifically if you are the show host, because that's what our whole series this year on the channel is about, helping show hosts become better show hosts. And we specifically work with personal brands at Worthful Media. So coaches, consultants, authors, speakers, those types of folks. And historically, our clientele has mostly been working in self-development, health and wellness, or entrepreneurship. And so a lot of what I'm going to share in this video around how to have realistic expectations about how much money you can make from your podcast is coming from my experience working with those types of brands and companies. But there's always exceptions to the rule. Some of what I'm sharing will be applicable to you, even if you're not in those demographics. So I just wanted to give that context so you kind of know where I'm coming from when I share what I've seen as typical, atypical, normal when it comes to earning money from your show. And the reason this is super relevant, no matter who you are, is because at Worthful Media, we are very committed to helping show hosts build sustainable shows, meaning shows that they can continue to create at a good quality that fuels them and makes them feel their worth and excitement and nourishing their vision and their energy for their brand and their work for a long time. Sustainability for us in media looks like making a show that you can continue to make for a long time without burning out, and that everyone gets, taken care of. You get taken care of, your team gets taken care of, your producers get taken care of, your audience gets taken care of. That's what we care about. So when it comes to funding the show, there's a lot of different ways you can pay for a podcast or YouTube show. But today's video, we're going to focus on how much money can you kind of realistically expect a show to generate, and how quickly if you're a personal brand in kind of one of these industries that I mentioned. And the obvious caveat is it's different for everyone. And it very much depends on where you're starting as far as how much of an audience do you already have? How mature is your business? What kind of offerings do you already have available for purchase to potential customers when you launch your show? So I will start off with the most asked question, what does it look like when you get paid by sponsors, and what does it take to get sponsor deals? And then I'll also talk about what I've seen clients do who are monetizing their shows without using sponsors, because they're both really good options. And you should be able to, by the end of this video, if I do my job right, identify pretty quickly which path makes more sense for you and your business and your brand and your goals. Okay, so let's get into it. The standard entree to getting sponsors if you're a podcaster, and I'm going to say podcaster first, meaning an audio only show, is you're getting tens of thousands of downloads per episode. That's kind of the baseline to where the money starts to make sense. And you might be like, okay, well, that's never going to happen. But if you are a certain kind of brand with a certain kind of following and you've made a certain kind of show, those numbers can happen. There's no timeline that some power that be says you have to wait this long before you can monetize. No, if you know your audience size is already quite large and they have been clamoring for you to start a podcast, and you know that there is a certain percentage of your existing audience that's going to convert over because you've done some tests in the past, or maybe you've played around with live streams or webinars, there's ways for you to know your audience. And if you know that tens of thousands of downloads right away is not a crazy number, sponsorships are a really good thing to check out. You aren't going to make thousands of dollars per episode until you're getting hundreds of thousands of downloads per episode. The industry standard number as of 2023 is to pay $25 per 1,000 downloads per episode. So if you do the math really quick, if you're getting 10,000 downloads per episode in the first month and you're getting paid $25 per 1,000 downloads, like, there you go. So you can kind of start with a ballpark there and realize, like, is that worth it to me to do an ad for that amount of money? If you're getting tens of thousands of downloads, like 50,000, 60,000, like the numbers start to look better really quick, especially if you're running multiple ads in an episode. As a listener, you may hate that, but when you become the show host and you're looking at monetization opportunities, you're like, I get why they do that. Double the ads means double the revenue for that episode. So that's just a really basic starting point for you to understand the economics of traditional sponsor contracts within podcasting. The numbers look different for every show. You'll hear about shows that have higher CPM, cost per mil, which is an advertising term for number of dollars you get paid per 1,000 downloads. You can negotiate for more, and it all depends on your relationship with the sponsors. But if you're looking to kind of enter with nothing, like you have no relationship with sponsors, you've never done this kind of sales contract before, that's kind of what you're looking at. And of course, there's exceptions. If you already have relationships with sponsors, let's say you already are used to doing campaigns on social media with sponsors, there's a good chance they'll give you an offer to do ads on your podcast for less, downloads than most people would require. So always look to your relationships first, your existing relationships, to explore sponsorship opportunities that would break the normal rules, because I've absolutely seen that work for clients. But if you're starting cold with no existing relationships and you're just trying to figure out basic numbers, that's what you're looking at. $25 per 1,000 downloads. And so even if you just want to make a few $100, like, you're going to be needing over $10,000 per episode in downloads. Now, on the YouTube side of things in 2023, you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time in a 12-month period to start running ads on your videos. That's kind of YouTube's base entree point. And so for a lot of people, there's a much quicker road to monetization by building a YouTube channel, because 1,000 subscribers is a lot less than 10,000 downloads, which would imply subscribers on a podcast. And if you're publishing longer videos, like let's say you're doing 30 to 60 minute videos on your channel because your episodes are that long, your watch time can rack up fairly quickly. 4,000 hours is not nothing, but like, you're going to get there quicker than if you're doing 2-minute videos on a channel, right? So YouTube is not by no means like a quick route to monetization, but it's quicker for most people than podcast advertising. And the beauty of YouTube, which you probably have already heard, is that those videos, your most popular ones, will just keep getting watched and keep getting found in search results like forever. So your whole catalog of videos, the more your channel grows, the more it can bring you additional income, versus a podcast ad, typically, like, you're only getting paid once for the first 30 days of downloads. And like, you would have to keep renewing sponsor contracts to, keep money coming in. So for a lot of people, YouTube is very attractive as a monetization route if they're a podcaster or a talk show host or another kind of show host, because your videos can just keep making money as long as they're on the internet and being viewed. Okay. That's like the most basic entree to sponsorships as a podcaster for personal brands, but it at least empowers you with some knowledge. Now let's talk about the other way that personal brands monetize and make money from their podcasting YouTube shows without doing sponsorships or turning on ads on their channel. If you already have existing products or services in your business or your brand, like let's say you're a coach, maybe you host live events, you sell books, you sell courses. Those are like the most popular items to sell if you're a personal brand. You can sell directly to your podcast audience on your show, right? You've heard this. Like, you listen to a great episode and then the show host invites you to check out their course or their upcoming event or buy their book or book a discovery call with them for their coaching program. So that's extremely effective because if someone's willing to spend 30 to 60 minutes listening to you on a podcast episode and they're vibing with you, there's a really good chance they're going to check out your paid offerings because they spent that much time with you, which is a lot of time in today's world. And especially if they start listening and subscribing to your show and spending hours upon hours with you over weeks and then months, that's naturally creating a really good relationship that will probably convert into a sale when your listener is ready. So it's really, really an effective sales strategy to sell your own products and services on your show. And there's very normal ways to do it that aren't weird at all. Like you share some bit of expertise or insight you have or a conversation, and then you invite people to learn more by checking out your program. It's like the most natural sale ever. And that's why it's so popular, especially among personal brands, to sell their products and services directly on their show and to do themed topics that tie into the topics that they cover in their paid offerings. So that's why you see that so often and why it's so lucrative for certain show hosts. If you've never created a product, you have no kind of service or offering, and you're just starting your business side of your brand, there might be a period of time before your listeners convert over and check it out. And that might be a good thing because starting a business or starting to sell a product or a service is like a pretty big deal, a pretty heavy lift. There's a big learning curve. So you might sell it on your podcast right away, but your conversion numbers are probably going to be a lot lower just because you haven't figured out your thing yet. That takes some time. Versus if you have a very mature product, you've sold it many times, you're going to know how to sell it really easily and have all of that already with you in your mind. So that is like, you don't have to have a minimum number of listeners or subscribers to sell your own products and services on your show, right? You can have 50 people listening and you can sell to them. And if 2 people buy, that could be a huge win. It depends on the price point of your product, right? So that's why so many personal brands have hopped into podcasting and YouTube shows. Like it's a natural relationship development tool for an audience that will likely end up buying from you. And you only have to make the offering, like you only have to create that episode once and then people can watch it or view it or listen to it for years. And it can continue to sell for you unless you change your product. And most of our clients at Worthful Media go that route for obvious reasons. Like most of them already have existing businesses. They already have established audiences. They're looking to do audience development and relationship building to convert their followers into customers. So a podcast fits so well with that. And then over the long haul, as their downloads and their viewers increase, they may eventually work in sponsorships and YouTube ads as well. But it's kind of like the slow road, kind of working in the background over a few years to build up that audience on those platforms. And then in the meantime, they're monetizing their show through selling their products and services. Now, there are many other creative ways that people monetize podcasts. Some people sell merch. Some people do collaborations, affiliate marketing. They have guests on their show where they'll pitch their products and get a cut. Like there's all sorts of other ways that you can make money from a podcast or YouTube show. But the two main, probably most straightforward, most attractive ways to make money from your show are the two I just covered. And hopefully, now that you've kind of heard some numbers and gotten some base facts, you have a good idea of which one would be the better one for you. I'm going to wrap it up with this. You don't have to make money directly from your show in order for your show to be bringing a return on investment to your brand. I have several clients who only do their show for the purposes of networking with other people in their industry who they are very interested in building relationships with that then turn into business opportunities later. I have plenty of clients at Worthful Media who create their show purely to establish themselves as thought leaders in their space and build credibility and media assets that live online that people can check out and see their brilliance and then create opportunities with. So there's a lot of ways that a podcast and a YouTube show end up bringing in money that's not direct. That's more through like relationships and time and sharing your wisdom and expertise and people getting to know your brand and then eventually, buying from you or doing a partnership with you or booking you for a gig or inviting you to be part of a business. So I don't want you to listen to this video and then be like, oh no, these two big things Christine mentioned don't apply to me. Now, there's all sorts of cool ways people make money. And if you feel called to make a show because you know that either you need to be doing this for your audience, or there's opportunities that you're looking to get down the road that will require you to have like a solid media presence online, like start building it now, like go for it. There's many, many ways a podcast and YouTube show will pay off for a personal brand over years. But I wanted to record this video because it's such a frequently asked question. It's so hard for some people to get just like solid, clear information. And I've been working in this industry for 9 years, and I've worked on gargantuan shows that made tons of money monthly through sponsorships and YouTube ads. And I've worked on like brand new shows that are just getting a few downloads, and we're starting from scratch, and monetization is a long way off. And they're all brilliant. Like a good show doesn't have to be monetized for it to be a great show, but I want you to understand that you have opportunities to make money from your show that you just may not have considered yet. And if you're looking for a strategic thought partner, that's what a good producer, a production team will help you walk through. That's what we do with all of our new clients when they come on board as clients at Worthful Media. Like we talk through their business goals, their revenue goals, their product offerings. Like we help them figure out the math and like what makes sense and the timeline of how long they should probably realistically expect to be paying for their show before it might bring in revenue. So if you have more questions about this, leave a comment in the video. Happy to answer them. Happy to do more videos on this. Hopefully this is a very helpful basic intro to monetizing a show as a personal brand that you can refer to, send to friends, and I will see you in the next video.